Welcome back to In Too Deep. In this episode, full of mechanical uncertainty, I haul the Broward out of the water to find out if this old yacht has another year of traveling left in her. The props come off, the shafts come out, and the engine room gets torn apart for this year's old boat revival. Good afternoon from Southport Marine, South Portland, Maine. Today is the 29th of September, 2025, and it is a crucial day in Into Deep history. We are hauling out the Broward today, and in this video, you are going to see me basically give this thing an out-of-the-water restoration in a very short period of time. The amount of work that we are going to dive into in this video is outrageous. So, right now I am emptying the water tank, letting the water run till the tank's empty, so that this thing can be as light as possible for the haul out, because I'll tell you, we're putting Kip's travel lift to the test once again here. We're right at its capacity. So I'm getting this boat as light as I could possibly get it. Yo! You ready to roll? You ready to go? You want to be on YouTube? Eric!
What's happening?
Say hi to YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Counting all different ideas drifting away. Past and present, they don't matter, now the future sorted out. Watch your moving in elliptical bound. I think it's not what you say. What you say is way too complicated. For a minute, thought I couldn't tell how to fall out. Oh, it's 20 seconds till the last call. Going hey, I lie now, you know it's easy. I like when it all is on alone, and I'll be anything you ask and more. Going hey, it's not a miracle we need it, and no, I wouldn't let you think so. Fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it. Fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it. Girlfriend, oh, your girlfriend's drifting away. Past time, present, 80, 55, 1901. Watch them build up a material tower. Think it's not gonna stay anyway. Think it's overrated. For a minute, thought I couldn't tell how to fall out. Oh, it's 20 seconds till the last call. Going hey, I lie now, you know it's easy. I like when it all is on alone, and I'll be anything you ask and more. Going hey, it's not a miracle we need it, and no, I wouldn't let you think so. Fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it. Fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it. Fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it. Fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it.
The zincs with the spacers. I'll tell you, they worked damn good, but we'll get more into that later. Living proof that I did not hit anything. Oh, sorry. All right, so it's dark and I still haven't finished really. It's almost there, but I am an absolute atrocious mess, as you can see. And the boat just, it needed a good cleaning.
Look at all the stuff. You see, oh, we got even brighter lights. It's all barnacles. I pressure washed it all into the middle. I'll shovel it up tomorrow, but yeah, there's still some spots. I scraped a lot of it. I pressure washed a lot of it. There's a lot that needs to get done still. Stabilizers looking mighty fine.
Anyways, I'm gonna check out for the evening. We'll finish this in the morning. I'm gonna go take a shower. Good morning, good morning. Early morning. Day 2.
Still in the slings in the travel lift pit. Today we're gonna set the boat down where she belongs. Oh, there's my alarm going off. Ran out of daylight last night. Pressure washing, so let's go downstairs here and see what we're dealing with, shall we? Oh yeah, there's a couple more spots that need to be washed. Got more spots that need some washing. Victor! Good morning. Look at this nice truck you got here.
What's going on, fans?
What's going on? I'll start cleaning up my mess under there.
There she is.
Sitting tall and mighty. And a little bit of port side list, but it's just because the ground's moving there. Or the ground's uneven there.
Alrighty, boatyard, day number 1. As you can see, I'm all ready to go on this thing. I bet you by the end of this boatyard visit here, I'm gonna look a lot more beat than I do now.
Thing number 1. All right, so I was walking around the boat, taking a good look, and all the Cutless bearings are good except these two have some play in them, so I'm gonna pull the props off. The props actually look really good. There's one ding in one of them. I remember hitting what seemed like a log or something floating in the Savannah River, but that's the only problem with the prop.
But anyways, last year I remember the massive controversy about how I mounted the zincs with the spacers. A lot of people said, oh, the spacers are gonna erode, the zincs are gonna fall off. A lot of people said that you need more contact with the hull for a lower resistance connection. I knew that that wasn't necessarily the case because in fiberglass boats, the bonding system oftentimes is just small wires that run from zinc to zinc that are mounted to the bottom of the boat. Essentially, they don't need a connection that's capable of transferring a lot of current. They just need a low resistance connection. And by mounting these zincs flush with the hull, you're allowing the water, some water gets in there, and it's a place for corrosion to fester. So by using these little spacers, which as you can see, did not corrode at all in there. Let's see. See that? And none of the zincs are even mildly loose, and they're all working. Look at the corrosion. They're all working versus last year when I pulled the zincs off, half of them weren't even working. All these are working. So the rudder zincs are doing their job. Everything is working well. We'll go look at the side zincs. Shaft zincs working. All of these zincs are working well. And none of them are loose or falling off. My biggest concern was catching a line in here, which also did not prove to be an issue. Look at the side zincs. Again, working, and the spacers in there are looking mighty fine. No corrosion. So these zincs still have life left in them, honestly. I'm not even sure that I'm gonna change them. I bought them all. I'll definitely change like these ones.
If you remember, this one was falling off last year from whoever put it on last and messed up the stabilizer. Stabilizers look great. All looking good. This is where the straps were. I added this little zinc on the front here. That one seems to be doing its job. Prop glide on the bow thruster worked well. Bow thruster looks good. It's tight. Overall, for thousands and thousands of miles of cruising, the boat looks pretty dang good. Again, secure. Spacer is in immaculate condition in there. And all the zincs are wearing evenly. But anyways, there's 3 Cutless bearings on each side of the boat. And these 2 look good. The aftmost one, which is the one that wears out the quickest usually, definitely needs to be replaced. If you look here, if I lift up on this, see that? That'll help me get a little smoother. So, oh, another thing that happened, that bolt came out. Remember when I was in the Bahamas and I was parked at my friend's dock and the waves were crashing in the back of the boat and this thing was going boom, boom, boom. Well, that was probably because that bolt was missing. So I just ratchet strapped it up in the middle of the night, fell in the water. Whew, brutal. But, alrighty, let's pull the props off, shall we? Oh, it doesn't fit. All right, well, I'm gonna have to go with the old pipe wrench. Let's see. These are gonna be tight. I'm gonna have to block this. Let me try giving this a good whack. Nice. That's one big old nut. Big thing is you don't want to hit the blade. Nice. All right, one side down, one side to go. Well, that's the easy part. Getting the prop off's the hard part. Mildly sketchy. Oh, got it. What's up, Logan?
How you doing, buddy?
Good. The prop puller's too. Oh yeah, you saw that. It's too small. I'll have to build my own.
Yeah. Yeah, because those around there are pretty snug, aren't they?
Yeah, they fit on the taper. and they sure are tight mamma jammas, let me tell ya. Interesting though, the nuts on this side are brass or bronze. The nuts on that side are stainless.
Really?
Yep. They should be bronze on stainless. It's bad to use
Stainless on stainless.
yeah. With any luck, one good tap of a hammer will get this one loose.
Oh Jesus, I think you might have done it.
To get the old bar on this one too. There it is.
I don't want to hit the camera. Definitely don't want to hit that.
Good entertainment. Look at that. Alright, so here's the dealio. To pull these props off, we've got two problems with the prop puller that's available here. Firstly, the end piece of this is a little bit thicker, so she's not going to fit in there either way. Secondly, this thing's only good for a 2-inch shaft. These are 2 1/4-inch shafts. So what I'm going to do is take this up into the metal shop and make my own piece in hopes that I can get these props off. A lot of jet traffic flies over here. All right, let's go build something, shall we? Alrighty, so here is what we're dealing with here. Old prop puller, plasma cutter. I've got some pieces I need to install, hopefully to get her working. That's the shaft diameter I'm looking for. I could only find this thinner plate, and it's substantially thinner, so I'm gonna stack 2 of these. I'm gonna make 2 of them, stack them, tack weld them together. Really don't even need to, they'll support each other. And cut them out like this, bam, bam, and then my new diameter. And I'm not even sure, I don't know, we'll see what I have to do here. I might just drill the holes that I need to make it work on this boat. Look at that. Looking pretty good. Alright, it'll be pretty cool if this works. There's my plate, drilled the holes. It's not the prettiest thing, but might work. 4 5/8 bolts, 4 5/8 nuts, and the existing end of the other prop puller. So, let's see what she does.
torches. Alright, so I'm going to be burning the prop glide off these, but it doesn't really matter because I'm sending them out anyhow. In the perfect world, we don't get them too hot. It just pops once the hub is warm. And that is how you do it. Haha. Look at my plate. Phew. It's key bound now, so I just need a punch. There's the key. There's the wheel. Ooh, that's a unit. 34. Right. Hopefully my homemade prop puller has one more pull left in it. That's all we need is one more. Nice, no heat on that one. Haha. Mission accomplished. Alrighty, so now that the props are off, I am going to go put the oxyacetylene away and move on to the next project. I'm gonna bring those propellers to get dynamically balanced, and there's one ding in one. I don't know what it's from.
Definitely didn't run it to ground. Maybe from this, I remember hitting like what felt like a log or something floating in the Savannah River. Where's the ding? Oh, right there. I don't remember that ding being there last year. There was one tiny ding somewhere. I mean, that could have been it, but anyways, they'll balance them and
I'll pay a ridiculous amount of money and get them back and hopefully get a little more efficiency and smoothness. Not to mention I'll get to do the Cutless bearings, which now you'll really be able to see. See that play? No good, no bueno. So we're gonna replace these, at least these two Cutless bearings. For now, let's move on. Alrighty, so right now we are gonna spend a little bit of time down here in the engine room. There is a variety of things that need to be done down here. This place is a mess. First things first, the long awaited leaking coolant pipe down there, that is coming back off. Drain all the coolant, and I'm gonna get a new one made.
Secondly, we need one turbo because this turbo is leaking exhaust, not from where the downpipe connects to the exhaust housing, but from where the exhaust housing V-bands to the center section behind here. So the exhaust housing's warped, it happens. That's why this turbo's new, that turbo's new, is because they go bad. So we want to fix that exhaust leak so that we're not ingesting exhaust leaking into the engine room. Then, this oil cooler, I suspect is bad because when I get the oil analysis done, oil analyses, I guess is what I would say, there is a trace amount of water in the oil, not an amount that concerns anyone or anything now, but the only place that, well, I suspect it's coming from the oil cooler. So this is the oil analysis from the port side engine. As you can see, it says all engine wear rates are normal, light concentration of water present. Then down at the bottom where it says water 0.3, well, on the last analysis it said glycol 0.2. Well, since then I drained all of the glycol out of the engine, refilled it with distilled water because I had that leaking coolant pipe. So I know that it's not from salt water, it's antifreeze, which leaves only a few options, and I suspected the oil cooler. So I'm gonna take that off, we'll pressure test it. Should be pretty interesting to see. Probably such a small leak that we won't even be able to see it, but I'm thinking that oil cooler is tired. These oil lines are junk. You've been watching this leak on the battery cover for a long time, so these oil lines are getting replaced. And that's really just the beginning of what's going to get done. I'm doing a lot in here. We'll get way deeper into it, but for now, let's get that coolant pipe off and get that turbo off in the oil cooler. All right, that's going right into the bilge. This thing's had a nice coolant flush at this point. That's the distilled water that I put in there in Fort Pierce. So she's had a couple good flushes, which is good. Now to snake that thing out of there. All right, coolant pipe's out. There she blows. I'm gonna mail that out to the gentleman that's gonna try and remake it for me. Hopefully round 2 is a good one. I need that thing done right. And it's looking good in there. Now, let's move on to the turbo. Alright, so there's the turbo. Everything's looking a little rusty. These bolts are definitely going to snap, but that's okay, because I can get them out. But yeah, look at the big rust situation going on here. It's just old. At least the other ones have been done. Wow, look at this in the blanket. Got a little rust situation going on. It's looking good. We'll get these blankets cleaned up beautifully. This pipe still looks all right. It's a little rusty. Looks all right though. Looks all right. I'll probably do the manifold gaskets while I'm in here too. But yeah, so that's where it's leaking. Right here where this center section connects. So all I need to do to pull this turbo off is feed line, drain line, downpipe, intake, charge side. Pretty easy. Let's get her off. Alrighty, so the turbo is off. I brought it down to the shop. All these blankets need a severe cleaning. Somehow, I didn't do too bad. Now, well, I was wearing gloves. Now, what I'm gonna do before I pull that oil cooler off is I'm going to pull this water pump off of this genset because it's been leaking for ages, and I'm gonna rebuild it. Let's do it. And there we have it. One Northern Lights Jabsco gear driven water pump. Let's go rebuild it, shall we? Alrighty, so that's all together. That's all together. We're looking good. Alrighty, that right there is one freshly rebuilt raw water pump for the genset. Look at that, it's a pretty unit, huh? Probably should paint it white so this doesn't turn green, but is what it is. I'll spray it down with Yamagard for now. Alrighty, so here is my freshly rebuilt water pump. And it's time to slap it back on. Let's do it. Alrighty, water pump's installed. Sprayed it down in Yama Shield. This is good stuff. It's like a coating. It goes on wet, dries, not like hard, but it's not like a clear coat, but it's like a oily sort of protection. And I did that because I didn't repaint this white. So bronze will turn green unless you protect it with something. So I'm not totally sure what happened to the audio in this clip, but what I'm explaining is the forward head in the boat has been giving me a lot of issues. So this is actually a different head that I put in temporarily just so I had one in the Ford because it's the most used one. But I bought a nice new head and I'm going to install that with all new plumbing and convert it to fresh water. So that's what I'm explaining here. Alright, this is literally one of the grossest, most least favorite things I could ever do is work on the sewage system of the boat, but unfortunately it's kind of a thing that just has to get done. I'm going to replace all the plumbing. Half this wiring's coming out because the new head takes 24 volts and then has a toilet controller with a big panel, not a big panel, but a panel for smart flushing. So you can use less water, more water, full flush, just empty the bowl, stuff like that. That hose is coming out of here because that's raw water and I'll need to run a freshwater hose here. So what I'm going to do now is get this head outside first things first because it smells even though I bleached it, and then gut the plumbing. That big hose runs under the sink behind the shower and then runs all the way over here. Yuck, it smells. To here. And what I'm gonna do is replace there, from there to the head, right there, and then replace this valve, and then replace this hose that goes to the sewage tank, and then replace this hose that goes to the overboard discharge through a vented loop. Let's get to it, shall we? Whew. Alright, so this is under the sink in the head. I was able to remove that panel and gain access to that side of the plumbing. And then by pulling this drawer out, I've gained access in here. And now I'm in the process of removing these track assemblies so that I can get the rest of this apart. And then I can take this out, and then I can get the bottom out, which hopefully gives me access to the rest of this. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the flush controller. It's like the size of a light switch. I don't think it's going to fit there. It might. We can try it. If not, I'll probably put it up there, or maybe in the wall right here. But for now, let's disassemble, shall we? Alright, so I want to show you something up here. This is as you walk forward down, the engine room's that way, forward head's that way. This is the front of the boat. And you might remember last year when I got this thing, one of the big issues was that everything froze. So air handlers were leaking water and blah, blah, blah. So if I climb up in here, I want to show you, this is the forward air handler coil. I never actually replaced it just for time, but I have the coil and it's time to replace it. See right there, I don't know if you can see, but the coil is literally split open from freezing because someone didn't winterize the boat before I got it. Can you see where the coil split? Right there. That's a better view. That bottom coil right there. And there's other splits too. But essentially, this is the air handler that does all the air conditioning for the forward. And usually it stays pretty cool down here. But one of the things that I'm dealing with and have always dealt with is the fact that the forward head is down here and the engine room is down here. So the boat smell down here is extra explicit, to say the least, sometimes. Especially when you have a bunch of your friends on the boat. So the real reason I want to fix this now is
not necessarily to have air conditioning down here, but because I want to install airlocks down here to help with the smell. You may remember about a year ago at this point, I installed something called airlock into the boat. I had no idea what these things were. I didn't know, you know, is this actually gonna help with the smell, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's been a year and I just have to tell you that it's legit. Now that they've been running constantly for a while, I've noticed it, and I especially noticed it when I shut the HVAC off to haul the boat out, and then I stepped back in the boat literally a couple hours later when it was on land, and the boat smell hit me, and that's exactly why. So all the smells I've been battling with forward here, I have a feeling when I'm pretty much confident at this point when I install the airlocks in this forward air handler here. There's a vent in this head from that air handler. There's a vent here, which I've got out right now because I was battling a different issue. And it's also sending it into the galley. Installing the airlocks in here is literally gonna be cake. They're so easy to install. You just put them on the intake side of your HVAC system. Even if the air conditioning's not running, as long as the fan is moving air, these things are working. So I'm in the forward berth right now. This is the VIP stateroom all the way in the bow of the boat. Anchor lockers right behind me. And I've never actually sat in this bed. Pretty cool. So look, right here is the airlock. This is the one that I'm gonna install on the forward air handler here once I replace it. But it's such a simple little unit. On the top, there's the ionizers. Shows you which way the air flows. 2 wires, literally 120 to 240 volts you put into this thing. So whether your air conditioner, HVAC, fan motor is 120 or 240, doesn't matter. Just plumb it into this thing. It literally uses no power, like very, very, very little power. You can either mount them with the magnet, which has a sticky strip, or if your unit's metal like mine, the unit literally just sticks to it with these magnets. These are neodymium magnets. Or you can screw it in place. You can use the metal strip they provide, which has 3M sticky tape on it. Wicked easy to install. This is the Airlock 1. So this is the permanent installation unit, but they actually now have something called the Airlock Voyage. So this right here is the Airlock Voyage. They just came out with this one not that long ago, and I had to try it because since I didn't have the air handler forward working, this has a built-in fan, and it plugs into either 120 or you can use a 12-volt plug. Comes with both. But this is in itself has made a huge difference in the forward head, just not having the air flowing yet until I get this one installed. Or if you didn't have an HVAC, or the actual way I found out about this thing is up north, when you put your boat away for winter storage, you shrink wrap it, you put it inside sometimes, outside, whatever. People were using these things in their boats. I went in to winterize a boat and I saw this thing running and it sparked my curiosity. I knew what Airlock was, so I kind of figured it was a portable version of it, but pretty neat. They work for boat storage, I'm sure RV storage, or if you're like me and you just want to put one in the forward head, that works too. But I kind of want to explain the technology to you guys. So normally when I think of an air purifier, I think of, you know, something that sucks air through a big HEPA filter and filters the contaminants out of the air. One guy was telling me he's got the airlocks in his sailboat and he really noticed a difference. But I had some questions. He didn't really know how they worked. He just says they work. So I did some research and I found out that the airlock uses something called bipolar ionization. Basically, it creates millions of positively and negatively charged ions and sends them into your boat's HVAC system, the air that's flowing throughout your boat. Even if it's only the fan motors running in your HVAC system and the air conditioning's not actually on, the airlocks are still working because the system's still moving air throughout the boat. Another thing I found out when I was researching is that this is the same technology hospitals are using to purify their air. I know I said this last year, I'm saying it again because now it's been a year and these things have been in the boat putting in work. So once the ions that the airlock unit creates are in the air, they start attaching themselves to stuff that you don't want floating around, like dust, mold spores, smoke particles, allergens, all the tiny stuff that makes the boat air feel musty and smelly. When the ions stick to these particles, they charge them and they cause them to clump together. Bigger particles are heavier, so they're way more likely to either get caught by your system's filters or just to fall out of the air onto surfaces. Essentially removing them from the air you're breathing and just making your typical surface wipe down far more effective. Ionization also helps break down odors and some VOCs.
You probably heard of VOCs. They're gases that are emitted from various solid or liquid products that easily evaporate at room temperature and become airborne. This is huge on a boat, especially for things like diesel smell, mildew, dampness, cooking odors, or as I always say, that boat smell, which is essentially a combination of all the above. The ionizer is small, as you can see, maintenance free, and it's extremely easy to install in a variety of applications. As long as your HVAC's running, it's constantly pushing fresh ions throughout the boat and keeping the air a lot fresher. I'm not trying to sound like a Super Bowl commercial, but I'm telling you, if I didn't like these things, I wouldn't be talking about them. So if you want to try the airlocks for yourself, whether it be the Voyage portable unit or the airlock ones that you install into your HVAC system, or a combination of the two, I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video. If you use code INTODEEP at checkout, you're going to get an additional 10% off of the already insane Black Friday deals they have going on right now until December 3rd. These things are legit. If you don't like them, you've got a 180-day money-back guarantee. So if you want to give it a shot, now's the time to do it. All right, so right now it is the next day. It is the 16th of October, 2025, and in 8 days, I'm launching this boat, hopefully. So I've got a lot to do, obviously. I'm going to take a step away from the head right now and focus on the things that I need to do to get this thing going. Firstly, I need to get back on this oil cooler situation. So I'm going to clean up some of the turbo stuff. Although it would be smart to just put the turbo back on right now. But I'm going to clean up some of the turbo stuff. I'm going to get the oil cooler off so I can order what I need for that. Alright, so I removed the battery switch off of the panel here and exposed a pretty burnt connection, and that actually explains why that generator's been struggling to start compared to how it used to. I don't use that generator much, but that goes right to that generator, so I need to replace that terminal there. That is the oil cooler. Essentially, engine coolant runs through this whole thing right here. The block heater heats the coolant. The coolant cools the oil through the oil cooler here. I'm going to pull this oil cooler off. First the lines, drain the lines, replace these lines because that's been making a mess for a while. And then put it all back together, change the oil, see how she goes. I do have to source an oil cooler, so we'll see how that goes. But you can watch as I remove this here. Alright, we got a potentially major issue here. We better hope and pray that once I get all the other bolts out, I can tip this thing up or down enough to get these bolts out, because they're long bolts and it's hitting there, and if I have to jack the motor up, that's bad. That's bad. So All right, well, I'm gonna have to unbolt the engine and jack it up. That sucks. You know, with any luck, I'll be able to undo these front two motor mounts and tilt this thing enough, but this is solid mounted. So I kind of doubt I'm gonna be able to tilt it. Nonetheless, I'm gonna take these bolts off. See what we're dealing with here. Alright, theoretically that's enough up movement for this thing to lift up enough. It's a heavy engine though. It's one heavy motor. Alright, so a little update here. I am gonna have to get in too deep to get these freaking bolts out of the bottom of this oil cooler. I have to undo all the motor mounts, which compromises the alignment. And then I have to undo all of these shaft coupling bolts so that I don't put any stress on the shaft, and separate the shaft from the engine. And then I have a chance of jacking this thing up enough to get those bolts out. Well, I will be able to at that point. So what I'm gonna do here right now is start popping all these motor mount bolts out. I'm not gonna record it because it's gonna take me forever, and frankly, I don't think it's gonna be all that entertaining. So I'll undo these. I'll undo the shaft. Maybe I can record that. And then I will get the Propeller up here and see if I can get it down in here somewhere, maybe on one of these frames, and jack this motor up a little bit. Get those bolts out, get the oil cooler off, get that ordered. And then I actually had a thought too. While I have this shaft apart, there's no great way to align this engine perfectly. You have to shim it, and it's solid mounted to the boat. So my thought is that you can get rubber couplings that go between the engine and the transmission here. Not the engine and transmission, sorry. Between the output shaft of the transmission and the shaft coupling. They're really heavy duty. They dampen some vibration. They allow for a little bit of alignment action since the rubber flexes a little bit. And it pushes the shaft back a couple inches so that I could fit line cutters at the end of the strut. Right now there's not enough room to put line cutters in there. So you've got no line cutting activity happening. So what's cool though is that at the end of all this, I'll be able to really clean this engine room nice, paint everything, and she should be good to go. So I'm gonna explore the option of putting the, they call them not shaft savers. I don't know, they call them something. You'll see them if I put them in, but yeah, this is turning into a little bit of an extravaganza. I'm supposed to launch in 8 days, so we'll see how she goes. For now, I'm gonna get covered in oil. I've been wearing gloves though, so I've been doing all right. Alrighty, so right now I have all the motor mounts undone. Shaft coupling is undone back there. And I'm gonna try and jack up the motor a little bit to get those pesky bolts out. It is a mess in here. Rest assured, I'll clean it up. Alright, so here's my thought process on this. Propeller. In case you haven't seen one of these units, I got my hands on this one. Kip just bought this, never been used. I'm going to turn it black for him with oil. Alright, so here's this unit. Essentially, it's a cylinder and a remote jack. So, here's what I have in mind. I can't get anything between anything, and I don't want to jack off the bottom of the boat because that compromises the hull skin. This right here is a strong piece of the boat. So this lip here is part of the engine block. I'm hoping I can get this under that and then jack off of that. We'll see how it goes. Should work though. Let's try it. Ah, this thing's too tall. Damn. Well, I could see if I could get this in here. Wonder if I could do anything with that. Oh, look at that, she's coming up. Oh, wow, look what I just exposed. No way. Look what just happened here. Holy crap, that just broke. That is a blessing in disguise, because if that broke, that's the main water intake to the boat. If that broke while underway, that could have caused a catastrophe. That's insane. Okay, well, that's good to know. Look at that, rotted. I wonder how the other side is. The other side actually looks a whole lot better. All right, that's a blessing in disguise right there. That's insane. Oh, it's not good. We're almost there though. All right. All right, well, the jack's in the way, but what we can do is now we can get that in there. We can let this down. We need to very quickly undo this from here. That doesn't have enough power. Oh, I chalked it up enough. No way. Alright. So I can still get these bolts out. Okay. Perfect. I'll check this out. I should be wearing gloves right now. Alright, so this is actually propped up enough to get these bolts out just by having that in there. So, oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, look at that. That right there is a win if you ask me. Alright, how can I get this out of here? So a bunch of coolant's gonna come out too, but we'll just add to the concoction we already have in the bilge. Let me know if you guys like this kind of video. All this mechanical stuff. I think it's pretty cool. It's really what goes into, you know, the boat life here. I can't imagine what a frickin' boat shop would charge to do this. Alright, let's get this in here. There we go. All right, you ready? Woo! Oh yeah. All right, guys, here comes the oil cooler. You know what's crazy is we might require a little engine jacking to get this oil cooler out of here too. Wouldn't that be silly? Let's see. I think we are gonna require a little engine jacking. All right, let's get our jack back in here. What I'll do is I'll shim it up just a hair. Now we should be able to snake this out of here. Oh yeah. Alright, let's get this right into our baggie here. There's an oil cooler in a bag. So on your good old 8V92 Ti from 1979, you have the oil cooler area. Oil comes in and then out, or vice versa, I'm not quite sure. And then coolant flows around the copper coil there. And it's actually looking pretty clean in here, all things considered. I just got oil in the coolant. It's alright, it's gonna get totally flushed out, so. Alright, and since we broke this main water intake, well, not broke, but since we exposed this broken main water intake, I just cut that tube. Look at this. Holy crap. That thing snapped clean off. That is rotted. Good thing we found this, huh? Wow. Alright, so what I'll do now is figure out what we need to source for pieces to fix that. Probably just that. But one thing you got to be really careful of is not to overstress any of this, because that big aluminum tube goes down into the hull. Last thing you want to do is stress something out and then crack that. That'd be fatal. So what I'll probably do here is try and get this. Well, it's going to be tricky to get that elbow off. If I can twist this a little, we can get the elbow off and then go from there. But it's probably going to be tight, so see what we can do. Alright, well, it's time to take a break from this absolute abomination of an engine room right now and go outside. It's starting to get cold here and I need to get the shaft work done. Well, not shaft work, but the props are already off, as you saw, and now I need to pull the stub shafts off in order to replace the two Cutless bearings. Ultimate sketch right here. So, over here, yonder, as you can see, the boat looks a little more sanded, or a little cleaner, I should say, and that's because I've got my friend Cohen over here sanding away. He has been busting ass on this boat. He sanded the entire boat over the course of a few days. You know, we're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for a nice smooth surface. And when you try and bust all the way through these barnacles, you end up going through the barrier coats of the aluminum. So the boat's looking real good. What I'm gonna do right now is take these stub shafts off and pull the shafts out. That way I can do those Cutless bearings. Yeah, Cohen's really helped me out with this boat sanding thing. I always get myself in too deep in these projects. You know, when you get into it, it's only so many things, and then everything unravels quick. Small things turn into big things. But it's not as bad as 2 years ago in November when I ripped the bottom of the Hatteras apart trying to do the Cutless bearings. Hopefully these ones go smooth. Alright, I'll pull the bolts out of the other side now and then we'll separate them both. So I'm gonna do that. Alright, let's take a look at where the Cutless bearings mount. Oh, they don't look too bad. A little bit of wear, but that's normal. Whew. These things got some miles on them. Oh yeah, that Cutless bearing's smoked. If you want, Colin, before I pull these out, you want to sand all this shit off?
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab some more pads real quick.
Okay. You got anything you want to say to the camera?
Not much. It's coming together.
Hell yeah.
I think 2 weeks he'll be in the water.
Cohen's a rare breed. He's a hard worker. He's here at 5 o'clock in the morning, frickin' sanding the boat. One wheel, baby.
What the? You
YouTube
he's even
channel
got the
right on
YouTube
it.
sticker. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Whew.
We're getting there. Hopefully everything goes smooth with these Cutless bearings because all the engine room drama is going to eat up some time. So I ordered a bunch of parts and we'll see how that shapes together. But I don't think there's, oh yeah, see there's set screws. Set screw right there. Looks like maybe a set screw there. I'm not sure if that's a set screw. Either way, in the perfect world, these pound right out. That would be sweet. All right, it is a busy day here at the boatyard today. They are just hauling boats out left and right, and I am over here working on the boat. I got the shafts out, and I synthesized a Cutless bearing pulling tool. So, first things first, well, I'll give you a little teaser. I got this one out. Take a look inside of this Cutless bearing. You can just see she's chewed. That side's not as bad. I don't know if you can really see, but it is chewed. No good, no bueno. So they came out pretty easily. As you can see, they set it in some sort of resin, and what I didn't realize, I took the set screws out yesterday, but what I didn't realize is there was set screws holding in the set screws, so 4 set screws per side. So I took the first 2 out, but there was still 2 holding it in. So we'll come over to the other side here, which I haven't done yet, and you can watch me do. There's 2 set screws, and then in here there's 2 more set screws. So let's get those out. All right, so now we have 3 and 4. All right, I'm gonna set up my tool that I synthesized. Basically your typical Cutless bearing puller with a couple custom made pieces here, like a massive piece of pipe. Nothing custom about that. And a, where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Custom ground to size concave / convex, depending on which way you look at it, washer. However, I'm using it like this. So that goes right in here. Fits nice. Then this piece goes in here like so. And then I'll let you watch the process here. So this has worked actually surprisingly well here. Amazingly well, especially compared to what I went through on the Hatteras. Holy crap. These Cutless bearings actually fit like they should. Don't want to lose that. Put the plate on. My bearing. Washer. None. Alright. So basically, I'm going to be pulling the Cutless bearing through the strut into this piece of tube. Obviously this tube's not the length of the Cutless bearing, but by the time it gets to here, it's loose enough in the bore where it can just, I can pound it out with a hammer. Jam this in here to hold that. And you'll hear it break loose. Hopefully I didn't jinx myself here. Alright, so far it's a little bit tighter than the other side. bumper brake. Oh, she broke. There she is. Not the best device to hold this in place, but it works. So in the perfect world, this should pound right out. Perfect. There she is. Cutless bearing. Obviously not bronze because it's in an aluminum strut. Let's go get these ordered. Alrighty, so right now it is time to attack the zincs. As you can see, and as I explained sort of in the beginning of this video, the zincs have been working spectacularly. Contrary to popular belief, I said if they didn't work right, I'd mount them back the way they were. So I'm definitely gonna leave it like that. Right now I'm gonna strip all the zincs off this thing and get ready to put new zincs on. All right, so I just got the first side plate zinc off. I took those two off and they look very similar to this one, but I wanted to do a quick analyze of this to show you guys. Because I remember a lot of the comments said the bolts are gonna corrode, the spacers are gonna corrode, you're gonna have a bad contact area after that. Well, check this out. So, these are the plates. This is how they were mounted to the hull. As you can see, this whole plate is severely corroded except for where the spacers were. And that's because I purchased a slightly higher grade of aluminum so that this plate of aluminum remained sacrificial. Up here, you look at where these were mounted, still super clean. Literally, after over a year in the water, completely corrosion-free surface for that to stay corrosion-free and connected on. The sticker is labeled, this is starboard, forward, outboard. That way when I go to re-drill all the holes, they're all slightly different. I can match up the plate to where they need to go. But anyways, these are my bolts. They look great, none of them were loose. I hate to say it, but contrary to all the comments on that video a year ago, I've got to leave them like this. The idea worked perfectly. It really, really, really did. Realistically, these zincs have some life left in them, but
I'm gonna change them anyhow.
Alrighty, the time has come. It is time to paint. I just blasted the whole side of this boat in tape, nice tape line. I've got Cohen back over here, although I don't know where he went. Oh, he's right here. How we doing?
Pretty good.
Nice. Getting the old bottom painted. I'm gonna start up front. Alrighty, welcome back to the forward head of the boat. It's the evening now and it's dark out, wet, bottom paint's drying. And I'm going to show you what I have been up to here. So, this is the forward head. As you remember a little earlier in the video, we pulled this head out and I made some serious progress on this. Essentially, I ran new plumbing, got the old plumbing out, didn't video any of it. It was just such a pain. I was just doing it. Ran a new water line that all comes down through here. And the water line is going to end up tapping into the cold water supply from the sink, because now the head's going to be fresh water. Sewage line goes down in here, and that was a complete pain. I had to have this panel up. This was out. It goes down into there. And just to make sure it didn't get kinked, I bought this borescope so I could look in the wall there. Let me take you into the Grand Massacre to show you where this goes here. Oh, as you know, this engine room is ripped apart right now. Don't worry, it's gonna go back together. You know, it looks like a complete mess, but things are a little organized, see? Alright, so that tube comes out of the wall right there and goes to this valve that's getting replaced. That tube goes down to overboard discharge, and that old crooked looking tube right there is going to the tank. That's the one that all the stuff flows through mostly. So that's getting replaced. You might say, why is it only a 1-inch line? Well, the new head has a 1-inch discharge, which actually saved me in terms of running the new line, because that would have been a big pain to fit that in there. It was tight. So, since it's a macerating head, I don't think we're gonna have any issues with clogging that, so we should be good. Alrighty, this plate right here I custom made. Basically had 6 screws going into the aluminum, and there was no real good way to mount the head, so I made this out of thick starboard, and the head will mount to here. Discharge, 24 volt positive. which is gonna go up here in the closet. You see this Raritan toilet control box? I'm gonna mount it right here in the wall in here. And then the switch is over here. I mounted that there. So you got water saver, normal flush, water only, empty only. And then this, because this seems to always be the issue. Do not flush anything except human waste and toilet paper through this toilet. Because now I've got well over $1,000 into this. Beautiful new Raritan head. Elongated bowl, 24 volt freshwater head. Quality piece right here. Look at that. That's what the backside looks like. So fresh water comes in there, and then discharge. I know you see the 1.5 to 1. Well, they give you that. And where it comes out of the pump itself, it's only 1 inch anyhow. So they say the 1 inch line works better because it takes less water to clear the line. Guess we'll find out. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna do this, get this all done, and I'll show you the finished product. Alrighty, we're pretty much wrapped up in here. We've got the head where she belongs. Remounted toilet paper thing, it was there, it's kind of in the way. I don't know about that spot, having the toilet paper next to your head. Maybe it's fine. And then our flush control. So wire goes in the wall. I had to put this whole drawer back together. I ended up putting the Raritan control box right there, underneath here. So that's all wired up. And I won't run a full cycle because I don't have fresh water plumbed to it yet, but look, empty and water only. You can hear the solenoid clicking. Cool. Nice. And obviously we have a slow lowering self-auto robotic toilet seat. Just kidding. Alrighty, the time has come for the new Cutless bearings to go in Duramax. Next time on In Too Deep, the repairs continue and the can of worms unravels even more as the reassembly of the Broward gets underway. It's a race to get it all back together before the cold northern winter becomes too fierce to head south.